know you have a pretty good life when you sign a 2-year deal worth almost $90 million with one of the more historic franchises in baseball, the Mets. And the fact that not only are you trending, but your wife is trending as well. So Verlander, there he is. The Dodgers, we'll talk about them in just a moment. And Kate Upton, there she is. One of the more popular personalities between my demographic. If you're 25 to 26 years old, you definitely know who Kate Upton is. So we're going to talk about Justin Verlander taking the spot of Jacob DeGrom. We're going to talk about the Astros' future involving this kid right here, JV 2.0 Hunter Brown. But before we talk about that, we have to talk about another signing between a Cy Young caliber pitcher. I mean, even though he's a little bit older, 34 years old, Clayton Kershaw is coming off a year in which he had a near 4-WAR season in 22 starts. He had a 2.28 ERA and 137 strikeouts in 126 innings. Kershaw is easily, in my opinion, the most disrespected superstar in baseball right now. Tons of fans across the game of baseball just think that this guy is washed, even though if we take a look, Clayton Kershaw, he turned 34 years old on March 19th of 2022. If we take a look at Jacob DeGrom, who's getting paid $17 million more a season, he's 3 months younger than Jacob DeGrom, and he's been just as injury prone. So the Kershaw disrespect is real. But then again, that is 100% a hometown discount. The Dodgers are not giving him what he's worth, and Kershaw is not asking for what he's worth, because when you turn in a season where you have a near 4-WAR campaign and a 2.28 ERA, and even if we take a look at the peripherals, the FIP, he had a 2.57 FIP. He was an all-star. Clayton Kershaw is still one of the 10 best pitchers in all of Major League Baseball. He's easily worth $35+ million. So Jacob DeGrom, he's getting $37 million a season. Justin Verlander, we'll talk about him in just a moment. He's getting $43 million a season at the ripe age of 39, going on 40 years old. He just came off Tommy John surgery. Kershaw making almost half of what these other guys are making. It doesn't make any sense. He has absolutely blessed the Dodgers, and the Dodgers now have a lot more money to spend on other pieces. Like me, honestly, I feel like Carlos Rodon, he's going to be the next domino to fall. Carlos Rodon, he's probably going to the Dodgers, but that's just my prediction. Or they're going to go get Trey Turner, or they're going to get Dansby Swanson. They have so much money to play with right now. All right, the biggest story of today, as we can see, Jeff Passan, this is actually him. We're not getting trolled. Right-hander Justin Verlander and the Mets are in agreement on a contract. He goes on to say that it's for 2 years, $86 million, and it includes a vesting third-year option. After losing Jacob DeGrom, they get the AL Cy Young Award winner, a former teammate of Max Scherzer. So let's go ahead and talk about Justin Verlander versus Jacob DeGrom, because we know Jacob DeGrom at 34 years old just got a 5-year deal, $185 million. Of course, with taxes, it's going to be a whole lot closer to 185 as if he signed with the Mets. But he's 34 years old. He is a little bit injury prone. We can go ahead and say that. We're not being mean by saying Jacob DeGrom is in fact injury prone. So the Mets were more comfortable giving JV $43 million a season for the next 2 years, as opposed to committing $185 million for the next 5 to a guy that's probably better, in my opinion, Jacob DeGrom, but maybe Justin Verlander, because he already had the Tommy John. He was fairly healthy. He had a decent postseason. I mean, decent is being nice. He wasn't very good. And then when it mattered most, I think it was game 4 or 5 of the World Series, he was all right. But JV had a 5.9 WAR in 2022. He had 185 strikeouts and 175 innings. So he wasn't the best in terms of inning pitched in the American League, but when you have a 1.75 ERA in that many innings, you are going to win the Cy Young. So he is now a 3-time Cy Young winner. He's a 2-time World Series champion. He is going to walk into the Hall of Fame, and he has now replaced the hole that was left behind by Jacob DeGrom. We can see that DeGrom, his strikeout numbers are otherworldly. He is basically Edwin Diaz as a starting pitcher. Of course, he got lit up in a few starts. So in 11 starts, he has a 3.08 ERA. So maybe you're thinking to yourself, yeah, this is a smart move. I would rather pay JV $43 million a season along with Max Scherzer. I think Max Scherzer is making $42 million a year. But between Jacob DeGrom and Justin Verlander, JV, he might end his career at 42 years old with the Mets. He will sail into the sunset. Maybe the Mets win a World Series. I have no idea, but that makes more fiscal sense than giving Jacob DeGrom nearly $200 million, and he might not even make 120 starts over the next 5 years. So it's a possibility, and right now, that is the update. Justin Verlander has replaced the huge gap left behind by Jacob DeGrom, but you know what? JV is essentially 90% of Jacob DeGrom if you want to go ahead and compare them kind of skill for skill. JV, he's not a guy that can throw 102 anymore, but he can still dial it up to 97, 98. He has really good off-speed stuff. He can strike out 8 to 12 guys in any start that he really wants. Now, the hole left behind for the Astros, Justin Verlander, he was their best pitcher in the regular season. So now, this kid right here, I'm going to go ahead and play it. Hunter Brown looks exactly like young Justin Verlander. So if you don't believe me, I'm going to go ahead and roll this little highlight clip right here. Marcus Semion's not happy that he struck out. Here we go, against Corey Seager. Oh, he's got a devastating curveball. He's got a confidence about him as well. So we can see Hunter Brown is definitely going to be a problem. Here he is striking out Cole Calhoun on a 94 mile per hour slider. So the Astros, even though they've lost Justin Verlander, their best pitcher from 2022, they're going to be fine in my opinion. So here we are looking at Hunter Brown's stats in his debut season. Yes, it's only 20 innings, but he allowed 2 earned runs in 20 innings. He had 22 strikeouts, so a near 10 strikeouts per 9. He didn't allow a single home run. So Hunter Brown, he is definitely going to be a problem. He's 24 years old. He is about to enter that point where he's either going to get shelled in 2023 or he's going to be Spencer Strider and just come onto the scene and be that dude for the Astros, probably as a 3-starter. I would imagine it's going to be Framber Valdez, Christian Javier, and then Hunter Brown to kind of relieve the pressure. Or he could be a 4 or 5 starter right behind Lance McCullers and Luis Garcia. Again, I know the Astros are losing their best pitcher from last year, but I mean, they have a bunch of guys that can fill in. I think that a guy, Forrest Whitley, he's going to be pretty good as well. He is recovering from Tommy John. He was decent in his few rehab starts last year, but there it is. The update, JV is filling in the hole left behind by Jacob DeGrom, and then Hunter Brown is going to be filling in Justin Verlander's gap for the Houston Astros. And also, I'm hearing that the Astros are trying for Andrew Benintendi. The Astros, again, are going to be just fine. Why is Jose Urquidy trending? I completely forgot about Jose Urquidy, who was pretty decent in 2022. So the Astros, again, they have pitchers for days. It's just whether or not you believe that Justin Verlander is overpaid and whether you would have rather given Jacob DeGrom $185 million over the next 5 years, or you're more comfortable with $86 million to Justin Verlander for about the same production. And last but not least, something kind of random. Fred McGriff has been elected to the National Baseball Hall of Fame by the Contemporary Era Committee. We can see that other players like Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, Curt Schilling, Dale Murphy, Rafael Palmeiro, and Don Mattingly, they were on the ballot, but they did not get elected. You have to get 12 votes to get into the Hall of Fame. That ball was absolutely launched. Oh my God. So Fred McGriff, one of the best left-handed hitters in baseball history. He should have been in the Hall of Fame a few years ago. Same with a guy like Kenny Lofton. So hopefully Kenny Lofton gets in sooner rather than later. Fred McGriff, the crime dog, one of the more prolific power hitters, at least for lefties, that we've ever seen. So there you go. Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, they were not voted in by their peers, and neither was Curt Schilling. Curt Schilling got 71% of the writers' vote. He said, I don't want to be voted in by you nerds. I'm going to be voted in by my peers. Yeah, he got 41% of their votes. How about that, Curt?